selective reduction, just as parents can see their offspring before they appear. Sonograms of the future are possible for those who pause to let sounds become sights, rumblings and resonances become apparitions of the future, which we might call a kind of avatar. Scenarios are not fixed strategies, but recognitions that human choices, beliefs, and habits create paths toward probable and possible future outcomes. Some of these pathways are positive, some of them destructive. By identifying the patterns of meaning we see around us, we can form creative and imaginative scenarios of different faces of the future. This is the same principle behind simulation games and the various types of systems thinking responsible for making internet connections. For example, let's say you want to do a research paper. Every time you type a keyword into your computer, you come up with various scenarios or outcomes for your topic, based on how that keyword has been valued by others. The more creatively you think about the topic you want to research, the better keywords you will come up with, and the more interesting and unusual connections you will find. Some paths you take may lead you to new and innovative ways of thinking about your subject. In the end, you will no doubt come to several possible ways to approach it, and will choose the one that seems most imaginative and plausible to you. Scenario thinking works much the same way. It is the art of seeing patterns, making connections, juxtaposing differences, tracking the drivers of change, tracing the paths of those patterns and connections, and then composing creative narratives about the potential outcomes they foretell. Thin slices of information can reveal the future. For example, Matthew Hertenstein runs an emotion research center at DePaul University in Greencastle, Indiana. He's found that those who smiled the most in their old photos, whether as a child or in their high school or college yearbooks, are more likely to have successful marriages than those who didn't. And those who frowned were most likely to have divorces. So smile for the camera. Scenario thinking creates landscapes of meaning and bridges to the future from recognizing how the future is behind and the past ahead. Just as an artist might paint a tree from an impressionistic, expressionistic, cubist, or Dadaistic perspective, each painting telling a different story about the artist's values and choices of meaning, so also can scenario thinking create varied stories based on the same reality. Peter Schwartz calls this a scenario matrix, a transformation of our creative observations into a range of credible stories. 4 futures that are as different as you can possibly make them, covering the broadest range of possible outcomes. Seeing the factors that lead to these scenarios, especially those identified as weaknesses, can help us avoid or confront them as they may occur in the future. Creative scenario thinking takes the shock factor and the fiction out of the fiction effect and allows instead for probable and multiple realities. In 1958, Klaus Conrad coined the term apophenia to describe the experience of seeing meaningful patterns in what can appear to be meaningless or random disorder. Apophenia was first used to signify a mental illness similar to that of John Forbes Nash, Jr., in the movie A Beautiful Mind, in which he sees messages, codes, and patterns within random numbered data. However, this term most recently describes the ability of everyday individuals to pick out purposeful patterns within the intricacies of life, leading to a state of abnormal meaningfulness. Maybe apophenia is a condition for which we all should aim. The skill of apophenia, or art of semiotic awareness, can guide us in identifying possible scenarios based on observations we find in what Jesus called the signs of our times. In creating the novel The Seraph Seal, we've used semiotics in an apophenic way to read the signs of apocalyptic brewery all around us and to create from it a briny scenario. Whether the novel's perspective is the worst-case scenario or the best is for you to decide, based on your own semiotic view and whether you tend to be a Tigger or an Eeyore. But within the novel, you will find a path that we have identified as probable and possible based on the patterns of meaning we sense and the dots we connect. In order for you to make your own connections and to evaluate the probability of our novel scenario, we've created for you a type of simulation game of our own. It is a way for us to conscript you into our ailment and for you to participate in our apophenia. You are invited to read for yourself the signs of the times.